Have you ever heard the phrase above the fold and wondered, what does that actually mean? Maybe the phrase, what the, popped into your head when you heard above the fold. Perhaps you felt a little bit silly because people on your team were talking about this term and you didn't know what it meant. I want you to feel smarter and more confident at work and in your conversations. Today, I'm going to explain what the term above the fold actually means. Not only what it means, but also where it came from and why it still matters to user experience and web design today. So let's dive right in. We are going to jump into the past for this term today, above the fold. It actually comes from the newspaper industry, and I would know because I used to work in the newspaper industry. Above the fold is talking about when vending boxes and stores used to display newspapers and you would see them folded in half and only see the top half of the front page of the newspaper. That area that is shown is above the fold, and that is prime real estate when it comes to a newspaper. That's because you want your top stories and your top images to go into that area above the fold to entice people to actually buy the newspaper. So let's fast forward to today and talk about what above the fold means now. Above the fold in web design or in app design is that area of your first screen. Before any clicking, before any scrolling, that first load, what fits on that area is known as above the fold. And it's still really important and critical area, even in web design. It's important because this is where your user has their first impression. This is where they gather enough information to determine if they should continue in exploring your site or not. So when it comes to designing your landing page or whatever web page that is, I want you to consider a few things. First thing is clarity. Is the information there clear enough to the user that they understand what site that they're even on? The second thing to consider is value proposition. Are you displaying enough important information for the user to understand who you even are and what value they might gain from exploring your site even further? And then also, usually a primary action. What do you want the user to do as soon as they land there? Is it sign up for subscriptions? Is it go to a particular section of your site? What is the main CTA that you should be considering on your above the fold section of your page? So you might be thinking, oh shit, I've got to cram all the important things right in that top screen above the fold. Well, let me bust that myth for you for a second. This is not necessarily true anymore. Users are very comfortable scrolling down into a website. This is not uncommon behavior. The key here is to earn that scroll, to give them enough information, visually, verbally, whatever that might be, to earn their scroll to go down further into your site. Think of the above the fold web page as like a cover of a book. You are enticing them to flip open that book, go into that website even further. Not everything great is right there on the cover of the book, right? But there's enough to entice them to go into it even more. So the next time your team is working on an experience for an app or a website, I want you to consider this critical real estate of above the fold because that is where you make your first impression. So you really want to make it count. If you found this what the session pretty fun today and you learned something, let me know by giving me a like for this video. Also, if there's some other terms you'd like me to break down for you, go ahead and comment on that. So now I want you to check out my next video, which demystifies another confusing term, another journalism-related term, in fact, burying the lead. So I'll see you over there. Bye.